I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up.
I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up.
Please, Lord, forgive them. They try to hold back and chillin' like they ain't know it was written. Break every chain. Wanna free my people from mental prisons. With your eyes on the sparrow, I know we'll narrow divisions. Hope is the boat to keep us afloat just as you envision. Faith to erase the pain from all of our people slain. Destined for change, actions to back up your spoken name. When they throw dirt on ours, we use it to plant gain. When it rains, we grow greater together, no matter the weather. Trust these dark days, gonna get better. Know that love will be the light to guide all our endeavors. And even if the tide should rise, we'll ride it forever. Why? We are mighty, we'll fight for our lives, cause we're dying to live. Future is ours, the timing is now. Black and we proud, we saying it loud. We gave it our all, there's so much more to give. We breaking down all the walls. I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up.
I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up.
Never backing down for the cause. Try to put our life on pause, cause we move in the image of God. No matter the hate that's spoken, our spirits remain unbroken. The divine map says you can't count us out. We are the answer. From the youth to the elders, ain't what you can tell us. Style and brilliance of mind, heart is bright as sunshine. Warrior spirits alive, so no, we won't be denied. So vibration is high and the frequency so angelic, like
Rise up, people, come on. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up.
I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up.
I know these times won't last, even though they've been tough. Just let them know my people been had enough. Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise
Tell them we gon' rise up.
We gon' rise up. Rise up.
You.
Rise up. Oh, rise up.
Yeah. Gotta rise up, family. Rise up, family. Greetings to all. This is Soundbytes International Radio. Black consciousness is the claim. Excuse me. I'm gonna get used. I'm gonna get it. African consciousness is the claim.
There we go.
One world is the aim. You gotta switch it up for them. Bringing the conversations pertinent to our diasporic landscape to you, and you across the globe. And you too. I see you over there. I see you doing what you do. You already know.
I see you.
I go. Of course, I'm Hasir Nefera, and this is
Nefera to my IT Ra.
You're already. So
yes,
join the conversation, share the broadcast. We are live on Facebook. I'm about to say on Soundbytes, on Facebook and on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build up our subscriber base in the YouTube world.
That helps.
Peace and power, Sister Carol. We see you. Thank you for tuning in. Rising up all day, every day. You already know how we do. Yes, family. So please remember to share the broadcast, share the link. And let's get it popping with these conversations. You know how we do, family. So yeah, we wanted to talk about this. You know how we chop it up on various topics, and tonight one thing we've been talking about back and forth, and like riding around and listening to music and things of that nature, and just kind of like assessing and processing this media landscape and this music landscape. Of course, me being an artist myself, I'm consuming tons of music as well as making it, but really just consuming the landscape of music to just get a better understanding daily of what our people are consuming. And how it affects the psyche, right? Because music is a powerful tool.
Yes.
Music is certainly a powerful tool. And I think as an artist, just to get off right a bat with it, as an artist, it just, for me, and as a music lover, right? There's a certain level of social responsibility. There's people who may argue this point,
Mhm.
but I feel there's a certain level of social responsibility that we have as artists and as musicians and creators, and how not only the content we put out, but what how we put it out and the demographics we're talking to. We always want to be in cognizant of who we're talking to, and of course, with you got hip hop and R&B and soul and how that's evolved over the years. Especially hip hop still is a young genre in itself, where it's coming over into essentially his first cycle, really, of like how history kind of repeats itself, of just the sound, right? Just like we've gone through some evolutionary stages in the sound, and in the content, or how much of the content is put out, right? And we look back at the days like the golden era, the 90s and things like that, how music, it spanned the spectrum, right? You had your gangster rap, you had your you had your conscious rap, so quote unquote. You had the soulful rap, you got the love stuff, LL Cool J and all of them. Rap that kind of spanned a particular type of gamut in conversational topics. It was a skilo. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I like things like
it was
that.
A different cadence.
Yeah, it was a different cadence in how just what was talked about.
And
Party.
It was just smooth.
It was smooth. It was different. And in a lot of like the different things. There was a balance, so to speak. If we can assess it, really, there was really a balance in the type of music that really hit the airwaves when it came to hip hop. And then over time has evolved into the 2000s and the different sounds, and then you got the YouTube era and like the ringtone era and things like that. And then now we're kind of in the age of 2010s up in the 2021 now and beyond. We got the trap and like kind of a new age of glorification of the drug game and and the violence and the sexuality and over sexualization of women, of men as well too. Then the what you call misogyny, the misogynoir, and like all these different pieces or whatever that are put out there, that's taking more prevalence and being called hip hop, right? Being called rap music, where the balance is not there anymore. If you're really assessing if someone has a music lover, the balance is not there anymore. So it's and when look at the biggest consumers now with music coming out in the streaming space, who are the biggest consumers of the music now? It's the youth, right? I mean, it's the broad spectrum of youth. Hip hop is consumed across the globe, but really our youth are the ones that it's talking to, right? Because that's the perspective. Young Black youth that are the majority of the hip hop genre, right? Black people, right? So they're going to speak on the experience. But I think it begs even today.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. It begs us today to really look at how that music is impacting our youth, because what the youth carry now into the future is how that future is impacted. The stories and the tales that are told is how they carry that into the future. And not only that, with the hip hop. I'm taking hip hop for example because it's such a huge genre, almost polarizing genre, so to speak, for a lot of people and how they consume it. It being kind of like the voice internationally. If no one understands the lyrics per se in language, they understand the kind of the characteristics and the beat and the behaviors, the music videos, and what's in the music video. What's the body, right? What's the body language?
All of these things.
What's the energy behind the music? And if you look at the vibration is just different now in the music that's being played. There's a lot of the loudness and like this kind of like this high energy, is aggressive energy constantly. So now it's even in R&B. Like R&B and rap are almost like blending as a genre, and the content is also blending as well, to where there's no differentiation of, are we talking about love making or courting, or are we talking about gun busting and bitches and hoes and things like that, all the dehumanizing.
That's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
It is. That's what it translates.
That's what it translates to. So there's a lot to be considered when looking at this particular conversation, and how we can move forward. And not everything has its place, right? Everything has its place. People, we're not binary people. We're not one way. We're not monoliths. All those things. But there's something to be said about what is aggressively hitting our airwaves and permeating our brain waves on the radio. You driving around, you can listen to the radio more often than not. Maybe Sirius XM or whatever the new age of.
I don't know what you're listening to out here, folks.
Don't know what you're listening to, but it's also now you can kind of choose more and playlist more. But your playlists have already been permeated by
What's available to you.
right? You hear it all the time. You hear the bird blasting around, you're hitting
Lord,
chanting
foolishness.
type of foolishness. You know what I mean? And how do we navigate through all that, right? To support balance, or ideally like a shift in the narratives that music impacts our future, our youth, and what they can do with it, right? And I've had the blessed opportunity to at one point in time a few years back sit down with some youth during an MLK event to really just kind of get their take on just not only just the music, but just like how they're viewing their everyday human experience, right? And it's very intelligent youth, Black youth, like Latino youth, Latinx youth, and just getting their insight around the music to listen to. And they're like, 17, 16, 17-year-olds talking about, I listen to Nas, I listen to, this like these type of artists. And it's like, I don't really like the music that's out today. So there's still hope. There's still hope in there.
Upsetting though, because
but
that's available to them.
Right. Because that's a room.
They have to choose out of it.
That was a room full of kids. That was like maybe 5 to 10 kids that I've spoken to, right? Out of the bigger picture. Right. So, there's hope in there, but how do we reach the broader spectrum of youth that understand it? Because a lot of it, over time, you get a message subconsciously enough, content subconsciously enough. Even if you just listening to the beat, the lyrics are subconsciously going to infuse the brainwave, right? Like a back end kind of like, repetitious narration in the back of your head. And then that can in turn shape how you see the rest of your everyday life, especially as someone who's still working through making your own choices, making your own decisions about your life. What's my next step? What are my goals? Especially those that are going to college and coming out of high school, trying to figure themselves out, formative years, right? If they're consuming a lot of this stuff that just doesn't really bring necessary value to one's growth, cognitive enhancement, respect, self-respect, respect of others, then what are you really doing with that information, right? It's a lot to take in, and constantly assessing that landscape. But I want to know what y'all think in the comments. So let us know. We're talking about music. We're talking about dysfunction. I see some comments here. We're gonna get into these in a bit. But yeah, we're talking about music, art, media, in today, and how that impacts these kind of dysfunctional behaviors, especially in the African community. Like how does it impact?
Dysfunctional though?
And what is dysfunctional, right?
What is dysfunctional?
Peace and blessings, Sister Ra Lotus. We see you. Thank you for joining in. Absolutely, Ashe.
Always, Queen.
Rise up as anthem in your heart, Ashe. Peace and blessings, Mario Kerr. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining in.
Please share the link, family.
Yeah,
please
absolutely.
Invite your friends. So we want to get the conversation going. And oftentimes when I'm in rooms, it's usually people who are already on that level.
Yeah.
We want to get people who this information or this conversation is going to challenge their way of thinking.
Right.
And we get this constantly with just the way of being, with people being challenged with their reality by my reality. You know what we do? We let live. We live our lives the way we choose to live our lives, but we live because we know that we're living in a weird kind of world.
Right.
Where up is down and down is up. Okay. A whole lot of different types of things in our world space that our conversation is it good for the African?
Right.
Right. That's the place we want to start to contemplate and process through. So we need more people having this conversation. Absolutely. Because our poor behaviors and our poor relationships are a result of the fact that there are not enough of us willing to stand, trust our own intuitive nature, awaken our own internal essence, and stand for what is right. Now, we look at our music, and that's part of the reason why we came into this conversation tonight to talk about the music, because it's a cadence that's also a programming. It's a behavioral conditioning that's happening in this music. We have so many different types of music right now that are against humanity. You say Black Lives Matter. How can Black Lives Matter when you enjoy music that talks about dehumanizing women? This is a connection. Oh, you just uptight. I done heard all kinds of stuff. I done heard it all. Oh, you just too much. I'll just be thinking too much. Really? No, that's not how that works. If it's not fortifying, then it's tearing down. If it's not building it up, then it's breaking it down. Simple as that. There is really no gray area because our behavior that's being programmed through this music, grandma used to call it the devil music.
Right.
The devil music, right? Because if you're in the Christian space, you ain't supposed to listen to the devil music. I'm just here to tell you. That's how I was raised. So by the time I got to listen to the devil music, I had a certain faculty to be able to process what I was hearing. So that I also had a type of barrier to not allow certain information and frequencies to come into my spiritual center. Because I was already old enough to process it. But see, we see the children and they boom, boom, boom. And and it's very catchy. But you know what it does? Is it breaks down your value system. Because if you think it's okay in this respect, it's obviously okay over here too.
Right. Because
the brain doesn't differentiate that way. The universal energy and frequency doesn't differentiate that it's okay tomorrow, but not okay right now.
Right.
There is no filter for that. What manifests is what manifests based on what you're saying. You're singing about, chandeliers, swinging from chandeliers and glorifying suicide. Right? And glorifying taking drugs and glorifying being so wrapped up in your physical experience.
Or even glorifying I'm a hot mess. Maybe I need to go and hang with other hot messes versus tap into my higher self, whatever that looks like. I mean, because that even that conversation spans beyond rap. If you look at a lot of you have there's a lot of the degradation conversation that happens in rap, but then you got things like pop music and things like that. But now the conversations are, oh, I'm such a fuck up. Oh, let's hang with fuck ups together and all this other stuff. I need there was some song that's I like that you're broken like me. I'm like, I get the idea of relativity. Relativity is understandable, but also healing is something that we would want to get towards rather than sitting in the space of the pain, right? The pain, the traumas, the pressures, the states, those that break and belong, whatever happened in someone's life tends to lend itself to how you're coming up into your later years, your formative years, how you relate to your self-worth. And then that's whatever that is comes out. But that doesn't mean you have to stay there. That doesn't mean you have to stay within that particular circumstance of thinking about yourself or your particular human experience. There is possibility in shaping that if you choose. So the idea that music and using that as opportunity it should be, and like I said, again, people will argue this, right? Because a lot of people also are addicted to, as Neff said, the pain body, and looking at addicted to this idea of I need to solve or release versus let me actually heal the circumstance and let me work it out, right? So not to make music around these are my deficits. Let me hang with other folks with deficits, or let me love your deficits. Not to say oh, you don't deserve love, but also let's work on these things together. Not just this is what it is, and that's it. That's it. You know what I mean? So I want to get to some of these comments.
The brother Mario says,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, peace, brother Mario. Blessings. Brother Mario says not the same drill, talking about ops, all that type of stuff, using that drill music, and there's constant talking about your enemies and in the streets, and we still talking about that stuff in 2021. It just needs to stop.
It just doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make any sense anymore. It doesn't make sense
evolution.
To
have we evolved at all? They were talking about this back in the day.
Right.
Rap beefs.
Right.
How you gonna have rap? Rap is a business. When you started making money, that became a business. Yeah. It's no longer on the streets. It's now in the boardroom. So how are you having rap beefs? Right. How is beef on the street? That didn't make sense to me. Yeah. And then brother Mario says, check out the industry executives. Yeah, we do want to check out the industry executives because I keep telling you, African, there are people that are cutting across and undermining your progress.
Yes.
There are people, we in our community, we don't understand psychology. It's not a conversation that we're having. I was talking to a sister. She says she only understands, filters through religion, and she only has a very limited amount of filters to process information through. And that's unfortunate. And in our community, we don't, by and large. And for those of us, because, being smart is a bad thing. I've dealt with this my entire life. Yeah. We frown on intelligence. First of all,
it's not cool.
When as you grow up, you actually should be trying to develop your own position and your own way of being. Not I'm just a weirdo. I'm just a contortionist. I fit into this weird box and blah, blah, and now this is where I'm going to find myself, and you got to like it. No, that's not it. It's a developmental process based on what was given to you.
Right.
This is what was available to you. So this is the one you decided to check. Okay, fine. But you still got some work to do. That's not a parking space. Your relationship with that experience is still based on a physical experience. It's not based on a spiritual experience. Because what's happening in this physical space and all of the trauma and all of those things are still in this physical realm, but there is an elevation place to go to that's above that.
Right.
And if you stay stuck in this, and that's what the music today does, that's what our social culture has entirely done with one broad brush and made everybody succumb to their emotions and made everybody succumb to their feelings. Your feelings are tricking you.
Yeah.
It's a trick. And for the African, we're not processing things through the mechanics of development. This is where I come in as a learning and development professional, to be able to process us through our assets, through our where we need deficits, where we have deficits, where we need to fortify. We need to catalog this learning so that we make marketed progress. We need to be marking our progress as we get better and above the foolishness. So we need to get there, and we're not actually getting there. So that's something that we get to look at, and we do get to look at those industry executives, but they're not on our side. They're not supporting us. I'm gonna tell you a little quick story about that pipeline from school to prison. We're gonna come back on that. What are we talking about?
Yes, I just wanted to shout out Sister Rod Loda. She spoke on the vibrations of the music, saying that we need high vibration. Your music is dope. I appreciate you, sister. Thank you so much for consuming the music. Yeah,
PathPeakMusic.com. You can always check out PathPeakMusic.com. I got it.
She says, I was listening to Black Thought the other day, and I typically love his boldness, yet I was over another person's house. It totally changed the platform for us. I was ready to have a conversation that was uncomfortable, uncomfortable, yet the person felt obligated to submit to anger and emotion. This did not end well. I value expression, yet we have to speak more of healthy, heal thy beloved African family. I am thankful. Blessings on that. Yes, absolutely. I wanted to get just more clarity on the Black Thought. Like listening to him, was it something different in the song, the music that struck the conversation, or was it a different type of song? In consciousness, I just want to get a little bit more clarity on why did it become an anger situation? Because like Black Thought is one of my favorite. He's like my top, like between him, Lupe, a couple others, like they're my top just for the their skill level, the content, and everything of that nature. So I'm just curious. I want to get clarity about how that spawned out. Sister Lotus also says there's a song right now. I want to say Cardi B. It was talking about snorting coke as a theme song for a commercial. I was appalled. We should not be comfortable with that type of speech. Shut them down.
It's horrible. It's horrible what they feed our children, and they're normalizing with our children, and they're playing with our kids. But we're going to talk about that school to prison pipeline.
Absolutely.
What about that school to prison pipeline? And then we because we're not looking at this from a panoramic view, because I personally give into the African Center and filter through the African Center project management. We're not looking at this entire landscape of being as project management. We as African people are constantly in damage control, scarcity mode, just trying to put salve on, feeling we are entitled to feel good because we've been through so much, because the system keeps us constantly in a pressure cooker. So when we get our little, we get our little hops and we get our little ribbons and things, we want to celebrate it, we want to party, we want to take a vacation. And we're not quick on the job. You are supposed to always be in a constant state of suspicious awareness at all times, never ceasing, period. Because you should understand that this system is not built around your fortification. Know this. So when you're thinking about that school to prison pipeline, you're thinking about the mechanisms of the music and how it has desensitized your value systems, how it has brought down your communication and your relationship building, because all of this spills right into all of that. Have sex with people, man. We don't want no scrubs. God. And these sisters talking about you want a good man. But the system is also built in against the Black man. So if you don't want no scrubs, African-American men, 3 out of 4 are going to have an encounter with the prison. 2 out of 4 is probably going to jail sometime in his lifetime. So you don't want no scrubs. Where are you going to get a husband? Because a lot of these brothers, right, if they are available, heterosexual males, they probably had a brush with the law. because he's probably A-type personality. He probably ain't freaking having it. And you know what? He just is about himself. So what happens there? But then you got this same music because these brothers in our community, we're not getting therapy. So where are we disposing of this frustration?
Right.
We're buying things to accommodate our
material things
for therapeutic purposes. We're buying stuff. We're being arrogant and nasty towards each other because that's therapeutic to us because we become sadistic. Right. We don't have good feelings, and we're trying to, these brothers, some of the brothers and also some of the sisters are trying to find value in themselves with their things. So you're happy that your brothers and sisters are without because that makes you feel good. Right? Because we don't have therapy, because we haven't understood project management, that all of these mechanisms are working together against the African community, period. So this is building into that school to prison pipeline. Because while you clapping for them in kindergarten graduation and 6th grade graduation and junior high school graduation and and there was a boy, I'm going to say his name. Oh, I want to say his name.
What is the context?
Donald.
What's the context? What is
he was in school in Pace.
I don't know.
I believe it was Pace or Pratt. No, it wasn't Pratt. It was Pace. Upstate New York, about 7 years ago. ID, great guy. Police come and attack and harass this boy. They killed this boy. His parents, upwardly mobile, professional, middle American, African American family. They had one thing to say. The mother read a little speech on the news they had a public hearing, and she spoke, and you didn't hear nothing else from her. They paid this family off, and they went quietly into the shadows. Really? You raised this boy up good. He's away at college, and you gotta worry about your children being away in college in this system, in this matrix system. The music is desensitizing people to African life. It's desensitizing African life to African people. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Do Black Lives really matter? I can't catalog how many times I've been done dirty by people in the African American community, in our community, Africans, other Africans. If Black lives really matter, we treat each other better. If African lives really mattered, we'd speak to each other better. If African lives really mattered, we would do unto others as we want others to do unto us. And we would stand for each other. When you see something going on wrong in your space, you should be standing up for it. You shouldn't allow something incorrect to happen in your circumference because you're standing for what's right. But see, we have no value systems. And our lives don't really matter to each other. It's all a slogan. It's not practical. It's not something we live, because we are the same people who are on the ground mistreating each other. So if it don't matter to us, it ain't going to matter to nobody else. Be about that life. I challenge everyone. Just the way I walk is a challenge to most people, because I'm not creating no gray areas for your foolishness. And you know what? I'm not calling you out either. I'm living my life. And you see that I'm not going to co-sign that foolishness. You know I'm not here for it.
Exactly. And a lot of people, they'll look at that, even if you're not calling them out, they'll look at just that movement and being in yourself as still a call out. Like, oh, she probably gonna say something about, she gonna say something to me about, or let me break away from what she got going on and things like that. Because you know the truth. Those that do that, they know the truth, and they know they're living inside of a dysfunction and not willing to do anything to actually change that dysfunctional behavior. And you got to look at how all these systematic things have taken place, how racism has taken place and capitalism have taken place to infuse what we do now as far as how we treat each other, right? From the most scholarly of us to even the most ruggish of us. It's all the same treatment. It just may look different. It may be a little rougher in the hood, but it may be, even those that are more degreed or part of a sorority or things like that, it may take up sloganization of Africanness or blackness, but really ain't down for the rest of the African community.
It's not.
Or willing to turn in an instant if the price is right and then try to rationalize it or judge it. Yeah, it's not saying that's all people. It's not saying that's all ruggish people either. But that's what becomes that majority of folks and that majority of energy that show that it's all the same. Racism has impacted us all in the same way, to where we're still being dysfunctional to each other, no matter how you think your cognitive ability is.
Lies.
It's all lies. You're still doing it in the same way, but now
you're yourself lies.
Exactly.
Because it's not showing up in your daily actions. Right. You let wrong things happen in your space. You don't speak up on them. You're not standing the balance. You're cowering. And I realized, and this is why I try to bring it forward, that it's learning and development. It's cataloging what's not working. You can't say I'm just jacked up and I'm gonna be like this and you gotta accept it.
Right.
Not acceptable.
Now you can do something about it.
Nobody has to put up with your dysfunction, even though we're all in this pressure cooker together and this madness has affected all of us. It is your direct responsibility. And if no one has ever told you this, I'm telling you, you go tell 10 Africans that it is their responsibility to become healthy individuals. It is your intentional responsibility to make yourself better. You don't have the right to encroach on someone else's happiness because their life force is their life force. And it is to them to protect their life force. We can come together as a community and a collective and support and fortify each other, but you get to come in with having worked in some of your stuff out. Don't come up in here half-assed and raggedy. And then when we wake up and say, you know what? We've had enough of being taken advantage of, trying to give our folks grace. And our folks still not coming around like they supposed to. It is your responsibility. Remember, we're built into a society that's based on usury. It's based on manipulation, deception.
Getting what you can get.
Get it how you live. And that's all that's with rap music.
And then moving to the night.
That's what you can do in the rap music for real? Brother Mario out here said, wait a minute, let me see what he said. He said it's to the parents. Mom and fathers play a role too. More parents need to be held accountable. But you know what your parents are at? Your parents are at work trying to get their $2 because they never got therapy. Because they spent their life growing up
constantly in the
pressure cooker mode. Yeah. So they finally get their little come up. They might be getting their little ribbons at work in a little space. See, because our value systems is jacked up. Most of us are just trying to make a better space for ourselves in the matrix. We're not really trying to create a sovereign African space for all Africans to be safe, for all Africans to be pronounced and to be in their essential energy force at all times. See, we all right with ourselves shrinking for the matrix and having to, duck ourselves down. I'm like, African folks are in this matrix. I know how I feel when I'm in these spaces with these folks. And I got to contortion myself when I don't got to. I used to. That stopped a long time ago.
Definitely.
It's too late. I can't even move on stealth mode no more. I'm here. As soon as I walk in the room, I'm vibrating through the walls. Like, I don't even know what happens in the entire building. Like, that's what happens when you elevate in your frequency. I'm not the end all and be all. But I'm here to tell you, and I make sure that I put it out there. I'm not slightly elevated. I don't want to be slightly elevated. I don't want you to think I'm special. I want you to know that you can do the same thing.
Right. Boom.
I want you to know that.
That's what it's
whatever
about.
you think about me, whoever you think I might have been or whatever, I want you to know that if you're not achieving what I've achieved, that's because you ain't putting in the work. That's what I want you to know. I want you to be convicted.
Right.
I want spirit to speak to you. I want the divine to guide you. I want our ancestors to protect you through your journey. Right. You actually have access to somebody like me. I didn't. The pieces that I got from people coming through was by chance, and it was only pieces. You got to still sift through it because they still creating the gray area because they got to get through themselves. They're not out there being about their life like that. I feel, why not? I've since 7, 8, 9 years. I'm like, what? Why? That ain't right. Why should I have to contortion myself up around somebody else? Why does somebody else get to say what African people can do and can't do? Why does the African people get to sit at the table and say, you know what? You carved up Africa. We want you to pack your shit and get the fuck out of here. Why does Haiti have to pay France? Why did Haiti have to pay France all of these millions of dollars? Because they didn't allow themselves to be captured. Says who gives you the right? Who? This country suffered because of this. These African people in Haiti struggled for decades because they was forced by military force. We're on the street, they do that from. I'm from Brooklyn. Where they do that at, family? That little dude don't boss up to the big boss. Europe, at one point, represent 12% of the world population. How does 12% of the world population debo everybody and put everybody in line? How that happen? I'm from the hood. That ain't never happened where I'm coming from. Where I came from, that never happened. That never happened. Not that the little dude can't come for the big dude, but usually you outnumbered and outgunned. So how did this happen? that we have to sit here and allow someone to strong arm us, and we somehow are too helpless to do something for ourselves. I'm having conversations with African people, and we're not even coming up with the right solutions to our own problems, which demonstrates how the depth of the psychosis. That we're not even thinking in a way to create solutions for ourselves. We only use the list of what was given to us. What we got out here?
Brother Mario Curry also says this world is a conveyor belt for Africans. That's shade. It definitely is. It's just moving things around. And also says that dancehall music for me was a disaster. All they talk about is bus guns run through as much women as we can. Then talk about how you love your mama and you're not treating your women right, and that same woman you mistreated as a woman, a mom as well. This macho mentality has to go. They can't fight tough guy with a gun. Yeah, it's too much the confusion through the space. It's in modern day slavery, exactly. It's too.
Where
it's
did
too
that
much
come from, though.
Right. Well, old day slavery.
What is that? That means you need a therapy.
Slavery.
You need a healing.
Yeah.
If you feel the need to subjugate somebody, somebody has to be down for you to be up.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because everybody is entitled
to their life force. We should both want to be up.
Everybody is entitled to their life force. You don't have the right. You don't give life to anyone. You don't give life to anyone. The divine gives life. We're only conduits, and women are the conduits that bring forth life, but nobody gives the life essence. So no one can encroach on someone else's life force. That's the thing with white cultural consciousness. Somehow they took the position to be able to designate who they feel has a right and who doesn't. They don't have the right to encroach on someone else's right to their life force.
Right.
They don't have it. And we have to accept the fact that defending our life force is our business. It's your business. You want to make a better seat in the master's house? Until, as I've stated to you last year, Africans are obsolete in the matrix. There's no need for you. So now what do you do with these folks if there's no necessity for them? There's enough of a workforce to continue to build the system and maintain the system without you. They have a whole heap of folks that can do the work you was doing. And since you're talking smack now, you're not even the best option for it anymore.
Right. Look at what they're doing with tech. They're trying to replace all these employees or these low level jobs, these minimum wage jobs. Who do they have? Who to have a lot of those folks filling those jobs? Young black folks, young people of color, getting them out of the space as much as possible.
And what does that spill into? The wealth gap.
Exactly.
That's
further broadens it.
It's still the wealth gap. The wealth gap. If they take away those small bottom level jobs,
right?
They took away the bank. Walked in the bank. You got 2 tellers now. All of these machines now used to be teller jobs. Back in the 80s, we was told when I was in elementary school, junior high school, get a bank job, get a teller job. That's a good job. That's a good clean job. That's a good professional job. That's what they said. Now then what? 2020, 2010. Took away the bank jobs. 85 to 2010, bank jobs gone. You walk in the bank, that's gone. Cypher's gone. Now what?
I don't even hear that as a conversation anymore.
Excuse me, they just hit this
I don't even hear that as a conversation anymore when it comes to jobs.
Anybody talk about getting a bank job? Well, because banks are not even hiring full time.
They're all part time. Yeah,
what they did back in the 90s, they came up with a temp agency. Now 90% of the jobs out here, they temp work. Everybody can't work for the government. Everybody can't work in social services. Social services is a conduit for them to filter money from the government through people, usurp, not help them, but just usurp and provide something. And you so happy with your little ribbons that you clapping it up and don't realize that all they did was enable you. They didn't help you create sovereignty for yourself or your community.
Well, it just keeps you at bay in the conversation of your own liberation.
Until the next 20-year cycle.
Yeah.
And they switch it up and do something else. But see, you have to be able to look back like this. We got the 20-year-olds right now, and they've been entirely shifted through the music. They got the beat, and now they have this nervous, wrecky energy. It's like shard glass. The music today is like shard glass. What kind of personality goes with shard glass? You know what it is to see chalk scraping the wall? What kind of personality goes with that?
Right.
If the personality that goes with shard glass and scraping a wall, scraping a board with nails, the personality that comes with that is what?
Right.
Probably callous. It's probably disconnected, can't focus, can't reason. And this is what's happening with our youth today. Right. A lot of them. We're not speaking to them softly. We're not hugging on them. We're not telling them the truth. We're not telling the truth. Go to school, get a good education. That no longer works. I am here to tell you that is the biggest crock of crap. That's not working for the next 25 years. No. So what are you telling your youth?
The market is changing.
We heard the sister, I can't even remember her name right now, on WBI the other night, talking about the 60s. It's a wash. We did a poor job. She said, we did a poor job in the 60s setting our communities up. Right. She said. Right. First time I ever heard someone say it out loud, other than Martin Luther King, who said I must have walked my people into a burning building.
Right. Integrated my people into a burning building, yeah.
Right, and this is project management. This is project management. This is developmental, learning and development. You want to understand what the issue is. You want to catalog where the deficits are, specifically, meticulously, catalog every single deficit. You want to look at every single asset. You want to assess how the assets you have will deal with the problems you have. You then will make a formula that will let you know where you need to accommodate. And then you need to make another list that tells you what you need to put in here to deal with all of these problems. And then you need a projection of where you're trying to get to. That's what happens in learning and development. I come in as learning and development professional because this is what I do. This is the metrics that I'm working with. And there is consistently not enough going from here, from our assets, to deal with our deficits that's cataloging our projection. And since we have demented and dysfunctional value systems, we all have different projections. Right. A problem in and of itself. So we got all these mechanisms that's forcing that school to prison pipeline. They're not stopping the federally traded prisons. So what do you think is going to happen with these federally traded prisons since you're now obsolete, African? I'm asking you, are we thinking about that? They're not stopping the federally traded prisons. Let me tell you something about business. Before you launch a business, before you launch an IPO, you need to have a projection, and you need to have investors who you can tell them you're going to make X amount of dollars. This is our projections. So you got X amount of money before you could launch your IPO, your initial public offering for those federally traded prisons now, right? Someone at this round table came up with projections that said, investors, give us money because you're going to make X amount back. You know what's in that page? Percentages. And those percentages are lives, African lives, people. The prisons are 75 to 85% persons of color in the prison system right now. So since you have no practical function, since they're taking away the peeny jobs that we once used to have, then these folks keep on crying about government funding as if they're mad that they have to give funding to the government. You're a business. You're usurping from the people. You should have to pay your taxes. How these businesses, they break down these communities, they create these deprived communities, then these companies come back and get tax breaks where they can make money off this community, from this community, and still not have to put nothing back in that community to help build that community up. Who does this? Who came up with this metrics? And we let this happen right in front of our eyes every single day. I've been alive long enough to see it happen 3 times. So I'm the person that's not going to continue to do the same stupid thing expecting a different result. So I'm the person who's saying, you know what, let's do something different. And I got so many people who keep trying to do the same thing. People who say, oh, I'm here, I'm doing this, I got this going on, we're doing this. But you're doing the same thing from 3 times ago and it didn't work then. What makes you think it's going to work now?
Right.
So if you have deficits in a certain area, you need some assets over here to help move you forward so we can get to these projections. But you got ego and you got attitude and you stuck on yourself and you're embarrassed. You don't want to say, you know what, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I need help. Maybe somebody needs to put in a few words for me. Maybe community, we need to look at a different perspective around this. Yeah. Maybe we need not to leave our children without the support that they really need out here in these streets. And there's some very fundamental things that Africans need to really look at about this American landscape. The first thing these folks did when they came over here after they annihilated, genocided the people that was here was they built fortification to protect themselves. We are too vulnerable. And nobody is speaking against this foolishness music. And you know something? We want it. We desire it. We desire it. We was talking about the kale salad that we ate yesterday, that we grew and ate. Your mouth, you have to reshape your mouth and your taste buds to accept this new food.
Yeah.
You have to. Your brain has to re-register, or you're going to keep hearing that madness music because you desire it. You want it.
Right. We've
been so dysfunctionally just discombobulated that we literally urge ourselves. We have urges for this madness. We want the drama in our lives. We get bored. If ain't nothing going on, ain't no madness, ain't nobody doing it.
Ain't nobody being petty.
Nobody being petty. That ain't funny. Oh, he ain't funny. He corny. We desire it.
Yeah, we desensitize our own pain too. It's funny. Our pain is funny. We
it's
fall down. Someone fall off a stage at a show, or someone
that's funny.
You know, that's funny to people. But
somebody got hurt,
run over, somebody getting hurt in some way. That's funny.
That's funny. That's dysfunctional.
Highly.
There is something that is not correct about that. And for the fact that we can't see it, and nobody wants to stand up and speak on it. People are too cowardly. You don't even trust yourself. How are you going to trust somebody else? You don't even trust yourself. And there's a necessity for us African people, for us to come together and be having the conversation. Because it's our lives.
Yeah.
We don't get no benefit out of it other than creating a community for safe Africans. We're Africans. We want to be a part of a safe community. We want to be a part of a community where there's reciprocity, where there's protection, where African people don't have to usurp each other and grapple for crumbs. Folks want to ask me to do stuff for them, but they never offer me no money.
Or offer a service in reciprocity.
Or offer no reciprocity. They always want something, but they never have nothing to offer. It never occurs to them to make an offer. How? If you take, you must give. That's balance. Sister said to me, some people don't have time management. So this is why they're always, you know what? You don't live forever.
And even that's not a real conversation, because okay, on time management, to figure it out. Make a new plan, make a new system for yourself that works so you can manage your time. Those things like that are not excuses. And that's exactly to the point of the dysfunction that we're talking about, is that we accept that there's these flaws of things that we actually have control over, that we just let run our lives. So now we've let go of control of our own lives to some mysterious entity that we've just said they're the ones responsible. Not you, not me. I'm not responsible for any stuff. Something's happening out here. I don't know. It's Mercury retrograde or something is happening to change my life, and some other foolishness that you let outside of yourself take control of yourself. That doesn't work. Now you found scapegoats for your own dysfunction. How? And your own deficits. How you found other scapegoats for you being the problem in your life, or whatever it is.
You're the problem in your life. You need to fix your life.
There's very little that's not in your control in your own life.
No, nothing. There's certain things within the matrix. But see, there's something that came to me. And I was actually going to do this earlier. I was going to talk to my sister. I made a post about when I was a smoker. I used to be a smoker. And I made a post. A post came up today back in 2010 where I said, hey, guys, I got 2 days no smoking. Celebrate me. Pray for the kid. And I had to share that today.
Pray for the kid.
And I said, you know what? I didn't even stop smoking in 2010. Pray for the kid, y'all, because I'm struggling.
I was like, that's how you was talking?
I'm struggling. Pray for the kid. I was a comedy. I was doing stand-up comedy back then.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So I was struggling, y'all. And I'm here to tell you, I didn't graduate from undergrad until 2011. So that 2010, this came up right now. And I was like, y'all pray for me. I wanted to stress. You don't know what I was living through at that time when I was in undergrad, driving taxi in a custody battle for my son, back and forth to court, dealing with them folks on the bench that don't have no love for these African folks, trying to tear up an African family, putting us at risk, and I'm tussling by myself in the ring with a blindfold on and gloves like this. This was happening with me at that time. And I said, Lord, I'm going to try to stop smoking right now. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. You know when I finally stopped smoking? It was 2014. December 5th, 2014, I decided I was going to stop smoking. And I smoked the last cigarette in that pack. I never smoked again.
That was an intentional decision.
That was so intentional and profound. And after that,
I had the honor of being part of that special moment to bear witness, to the point where now I forgot that she did. I was like, oh wait,
you used to smoke.
You used to smoke.
Yes. People that know me is like, why you used to smoke? I said, girl, we was in boarding school together, and you used to be telling me to bust you down. Remember that? Oh, for real? Save me an ace. Yes, I used to smoke. Remember? Y'all don't know nothing about lingo. That. Save me an ace. Somebody want to hit your cigarette. Bust me down. Let me get a bone. Let me get one of your squares. These go cigarettes, your bone. Let me get a bone. Yes, back in the day. And I stopped. I was on and off again, social smoker. There were times when I stopped smoking for 2 years and started smoking again. And I knew that smoking was bad, but I still told myself all kinds of lies so I can keep on smoking. Mm-hmm. I'm under stress. Shoot, you're gonna die from something. Might as well die happy. Look at that foolishness. How many of us tell ourselves that foolishness?
I remember.
Isn't that the main one?
That's one of the worst. And let's interject, but like really quick, that reminded me of the time I was in a spirit store. I'm gonna say it like that. And there was a gentleman it was in the train station. There was a gentleman who walked in there. It was like kind of like, kind of down on the luck energy type of thing. But it was like, making the conversation for himself. Like he was trying to justify himself buying this bottle of alcohol of like, what was it? I don't know, the E&J or something like that. I don't know. But he was like making the justification as if someone asked out loud for himself. Saying like, well, I'm going to die eventually. So I might as well, whatever. Like, I mean, no one said word. But, it's the fact that you're to the point where he's probably told himself this particular like lie or this justification for years and years to justify probably maybe alcoholism or maybe just like this is the way I've coped with my problems or my traumas. And we tell ourselves these things, whatever it is, and engage in these vices just to hide or escape from whatever it is. But guess what? You don't escape. You've walked out, but you end up coming back involuntarily by the end of the night until you choose to say no more. Until you choose to say no more. It has to be a deliberate, intentional choice, like what Nephra did with the smoking. And it literally was intentional, like, look, last boom, and I'm done. With extreme, potent intention, and have not seen a cigarette since, to the point where you sick of even seeing cigarettes.
Oh, that thing makes me disgusting, y'all.
It's gross.
That thing is gross, and I can't take the smell.
I've always thought cigarettes were gross. I actually tried it one time just to justify myself, like why do people like this thing? And I tried it literally once, and I was just like, I don't get it. It's one of those things I just never got. Like, what is this?
It's a habit.
Zero health benefits.
It's a habit.
But also, what can you put in your life as a habit that can be positive?
That can be helpful.
That can be supportive.
But I tried everything. Helpful. I used to chew tea tree sticks.
Yeah.
I chewed straws. I chewed gum. I took the nicotine patch. None of those things worked. The only thing that worked was the day I said, I'm just not smoking no more, period. I'm done.
Speaking of which, Sister Essie Grace says, we just decided today we're done. Smoked the last one a piece earlier. I know it's the last thing holding me, and I choose no more. That's right. No more. No more, sister.
This is the thing, sis, with the cigarette, though.
No more.
The cigarette.
Gotta let it
The
go.
Universe does this, and this is my sacred sister. So me and her, we travel the journey together. So my thing is this. You smoke the cigarette is a crutch. Before my comedic walk, I was hard bodying the Bible. I have so many tools that came from the Bible. I learned a lot after the fact that helped me evolve different parts of my consciousness. But I don't retain information from those spaces because I was utilizing those tools, literally washing through them, using them, washing them through recycling. And I was having consistent data dumps. But that Christian Bible, because of the way that it was drilled into me, I literally have that mechanism. But I tell you where it first came to me at. The Christian Bible says all things under submission of the mind. So I have had a personal problem with anything making me feel weak. Anything. I took an 8-year no sex spiritual journey to beat a demon that I felt had control over me. The cigarette was the same thing. My father was drug addicted. I can tell the stories. So folks like to get where they're going and like to pretend that they ain't come from nowhere. I'm here to tell you, we African, you came from somewhere. You ain't just get here yesterday.
And it's more likely familiar.
This is a 35-year building constantly foundation, one brick at a time. And I tried to do it in a gray area. And more, my spirit just kept pulling me more and more. And I had to just go at some point. I refuse to be in a situation where anything would make me weak. You know, everything under submission of mine. If you want nothing the Matrix has to offer you, it has no control over you. See, that's the jewel right there, family. But it's a type of discipline that so many of us are not willing to commit to because we tell ourselves lies so we can continue doing the bullshit that we do. I'm going to hold you to your highest because I need for you to beat some of these foundation things to get past them so that we can begin to fortify as a community.
Yes.
And these are some very basic things. If you don't control if you can't control yourself, your own emotions, right? If you cannot control your own energy, you can't be on the front line with people who are talking tactical and strategic because you're liable to be the weak chain. So you need to do the foundation things. What do they do like? Or the Karate Kid?
Wax on, wax off.
Or the brush up, brush down. Wax on, wax off. Why? Because you're learning a stroke. You're reprogramming a new behavior on top of an old behavior. Wax on, wax off. You're learning the perfection in the stroke.
And he ultimately pushed that old business out of your purview.
And to get it out. And you keep doing it. And what he did in Kill Bill, her ass, her little teeny wood, Uma Thurman, up and down every day going to get water. Beating and fighting, all you get is rice. Oh, you don't know how to be civil? Then you don't eat today. Go to sleep. That's what he said. You don't eat today, go to bed. You got one bowl of rice today.
Like a daddy.
And you don't even get it because you don't want to be civil at the table and eat civil. So now she get her chopsticks and now she going to learn how to eat civil. You're not going to eat with your hands in here because you're hungry, because you want to get ahead of yourself. You're going to be in control of your faculties. And you're going to eat like a civil person. I don't care. You've been working all day. You're hot. You're sweaty. You're tired. I don't care. You're going to be in control of your faculties. African.
We've thrown discipline away.
This is something that I know is so powerful about the Nation of Islam because they have installed a sense of discipline. There are certain frameworks that they have in their community that we're missing from our community because we no longer have the rites of passage as tribes. In tribes, you had rites of passages. So you learn certain different disciplines. In our community, discipline was something the enemy does not want you to have. Because if you have discipline, then you'll be able to fight against the temptations. There's so many temptations in our society today, and it has caused us all to be very lenient.
Very.
We're lenient in places where we should be tight as hell because our lives depend on it. But we are weak and lax and lenient. That cigarette, sis, I'm happy for you.
Yes.
I'm glad you gave up that cigarette. Give thanks. Woohoo! Because you the bomb. I don't care what's happening. And I'm going to tell you, after that, this is what the universe is going to do for you. I was going through all of that when I made that post 2010. Oh, I'm stopping smoking. The freaking tornado was happening in my life. When I stopped smoking in 2014, another tornado hit my life. And it lasted for about 7 months. I refused to smoke. When you say you've built in your spirit as a powerful, intuitive creator, your energy center, you're in creation mode, and you say you create an offshoot, a different direction that you're going in, the universe is going to test you. You're going to get tested. And I promise you, I could have started smoking again. If I had been about my old way, I could have got me a carton of cigarettes. Because I was at a point where I was buying cartons down south. You can buy the carton down south for $10. Go to South Carolina and get the whole carton for $10. Okay, family? I was about my smoking life. I was committed to it. You want to commit to that smoking? Commit to your health.
Yeah, just switch it.
Switch it up.
Switch it. That's all it is.
That's what we get to do. And that's for us. And see, it's so much power when you take back your own self-agency. And I'm not talking about be arrogant. I'm not talking about your fly pictures with your booty in the camera and you looking sexy and all of that, because that's all carnal and it won't last forever. You won't have a sexy booty forever. That shit gonna be hanging.
Unless you staying committed.
Percolating. Well, you know.
Unless you staying committed.
We saw our girl 70 years old out
70
here.
70 and 80s out here tightening it up.
With her husband who was on an oxygen machine.
Okay.
The couple, y'all, didn't see it a couple of years ago. I'm gonna share it again. She's 70 years old, looking like she's 35.
No, she's 10.
And her husband, and she is a wife of a man they married. How long? 50-something years. And she offered him the same option and he refused. He's still out here eating pork.
But guess what? She still loved him.
She still loved him, but his butt was on that oxygen machine. I bet you she got that insurance policy.
Okay. I don't know what's happening now, but but
it is what it is, boo-boo. Let's not fool around with the foolishness.
Okay.
Okay. So it's up to us to curtail ourselves in a way where we impress upon our youth certain value systems. We can't allow these people to tell us how to interact with our children and what's appropriate for our community. There was a time in our community where certain things just was not acceptable. It was taboo and we didn't allow it. And people will talk about you if you be out here doing certain kinds of things because we had certain kinds of standards. They dwindled that all the way from the 80s. 80s, that was the end of it. And then before you know it was 90s and it was get it how you live.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. Because you know what we're doing? We're parasiting on each other.
Yeah. And
that's what D.L. Hughley said the other day when he was on the morning breakfast club. He said, yeah, crabs in the bucket. We be always talking about crippled crabs in the bucket. Ain't no crab got no business in no bucket.
Okay, get them out.
So, yeah, they pulling each other down, but ain't no crabs got no business in no bucket. That's not a constant way of being.
Yeah.
If we behaving like crippled crabs in the bucket, who got us in the bucket? Let's talk about the bucket. Colorful white people language love to talk about the crabs in the bucket. Talk about why the bucket here.
You should
why
be in the ocean.
In the bucket.
Should be in the ocean in your freedom.
They should be free. They shouldn't be in no bucket. And no crabs got no business in no bucket. So let's get out the bucket, Africans.
Okay.
Let's get ourselves out the bucket. So everybody can stop trying to get out and grapple on their own accord, and you grappling, you pulling your brothers down, because every time he get up, you pulling them back down.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Jordan Group called that vacant esteem. They afraid that this one get out, he gonna leave the rest of them behind. They mad because they in the bucket.
Right.
We can all get out. How about that?
Let's tip that.
We can
over.
all get out. We can all fight and throw our weight to one side and tear this bucket down. We can all get free.
This bucket, let it lean into the ocean so we
Let's
can go swim away. Yes, indeed. Sister Esther Grace says, what I'm learning is to slow down, and it allows me to use the chopsticks instead of my hand. Ashe. That's what we love about Muslims too. We don't have a choice now. We have to quit. Absolutely. Ashe.
You have to take control of that. You have to have that faculty.
Sister Rollo says, that's love. I really enjoy the remembrance and understanding and forgiveness that you just did. Absolutely.
Thanks, family. Thanks. That's us. That's our journey. And we got to put that in our children.
Exactly. No buckets. No buckets.
No buckets. No buckets.
No buckets. No buckets out here.
No buckets, beloved.
Be free of
we out the buckets. We supposed to be in the ocean.
Shake that bucket.
Okay. That's us. And that's our destiny. And we can do that for each other.
Yes.
There, and I tell you, there's a maintenance conversation, because while we having this conversation, I can't feed all these Africans. I can't, right? I would love to be able to make a space for every African. Listen, in my house my mother's house has many tribes.
Many tribes, yep.
I would love to do that, but I'm not able to. So I want to say to you, African, there's a maintenance conversation where you still get to be in integrity with your African soul.
Yes.
Dr. Baba Malemu calls it high treason. If you out here skinning and grinning and you tittle-tattling in the middle, you in high treason. Because not only are you offending yourself, but you're offending your ancestors who poured blood so you could be free.
Yes.
You don't have the right. It's offensive for you to disrespect and shatter the honor of your ancestors.
Sure.
So you have to stand up. That's your duty. These folks, they're not that powerful, really. It's game. They tried to wipe everything away, and they came out here with this superhero foolishness, and you believe it. That's your bag. Wake up from the nightmare. It's a joke.
All this has been a carnal reaction. That's what they've capitalized on, carnal reaction.
All we doing
until the quote unquote civilized folks is like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, they're like, kill. I got this power is kill, and that's what's happened. And then look what happened over the centuries. We adapt to a relationship with one another as African people, indigenous peoples. This is what we do. The other side doesn't operate that way. So that's all tricks and smoke and mirrors of how they got here. That 12-13% of the world population. So we can bounce back off that.
That 90% of their control is all smoke and mirrors.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's all the house of mirrors.
That's all it is.
And they do a whole lot of things, manipulative, deceptive things, which means you should never be asleep. Grandma said sleep with one eye open. I told you to be in a constant state of suspicious awareness. My grandmother told me to sleep with one eye open. And if you're not telling your children to sleep with one eye open on this matrix, you setting your children up for failure.
Get your Shogun of Harlem on. Ooh, the master.
You better make sure.
Ooh, the master.
Shogun. Shogun. Listen, y'all, stop playing. It's not a game out here in these streets.
Right, we
with you. We with you.
We with you. We
this how we do it out here in our holistic energy, being in our essence.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And we hold in space the way we do it.
Right.
We're not looking for it to look like they stuff. Because they stuff just got here. We always had stuff.
Okay.
I didn't just show up yesterday. Oh, she's a genius. No.
It's work.
We come from a civilization that's eons old, years old. My expectations is excellence. I'm not even out here for the foolishness.
Okay.
So raise up the bar, not having it, not accepting that short change, not allowing the low-hanging fruit. Raise the bar. Make amends. You do dirt, stand up and hold your back. Make amends. You grown. I'm not treating nobody like children. White folks treat black folks like they children. White-centered consciousness treats African people like they can't make certain decisions for themselves. And you know what? You really haven't. Somebody's been telling you what to do and you've been doing it. What did he say in the Matrix? He said, oh, since you're so good at doing what you're told to do, go back and tell the fairy, what did it say? Go back and tell go back and tell, he didn't call her Oracle. He called her soothsayer or something.
Yeah.
Go back and tell the soothsayer that I said her time is almost up. Since you came here to me asking me for something, talking about the Merovingian, you came to me asking me for something, so you're good at doing what you're told to do. Go back and tell that heifer, I said, I'll be there. I'll be through there sooner or later. Her time is up. You see what I'm saying? That's the reflection. You don't need to go ask nobody for nothing. They don't need to facilitate anything for you.
Right.
You have all that you need in your own hand, in your own community, in your own children, and in your land. African people, African consciousness. We're not here for black consciousness because black doesn't belong to anything. It's a color of a crayon. It's in the box. African people have a land. They have a people. They have a nation. They belong to something. There's no black dangling participle just hitting somewhere dangling in the air over there. Just, I don't know what it's doing. So when people mistreat us, nobody comes to our aid because we don't have no nation. If something is happening with a certain nation of people, it would be an international incident because they got people who got an army, who ain't having it, who don't appreciate America in the first place, just waiting on America to slip because, boy, they can't wait for their moment. See, that's what I know about from the hood. Oh, that fool he out here carrying on? Just wait, we gonna get him. I'm just saying.
Sure
because I'm from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. It's not a joke. They wasn't playing out there. I was never a part of it. I took my little summer youth job. I went to school. I went to night school. I wasn't fooling around, but I'm in the community with my people. I'm not so distant with my consciousness that I don't know how to be with my people.
Right.
I know we in this same pressure cooker together.
Right.
We ain't no different from us. You might be handling your stress a little bit different than the way I'm handling my stress, but we here together.
Right.
We here together. They always have had respect for me. Listen, that so-and-so and them needs don't bother us. She all right.
Right. Because it's not about being so special. You know, like Neff and I are not so special.
No.
Like you're not so special that, no, a special meaning like anyone's high or above or below anyone else. Well, we have the tools that's available to us. We have the energy and the people and the information is available to us. So it's all in how we use that information and apply it to make this shit happen in our lives that needs to happen.
Come on, family.
Period. What we come to is through self-work, through the time and the dedication and the choosing. Something needs to be different. I'm gonna make it different because ain't nobody else gonna make it different from me other than me. Period. Us doing Soundbytes, this is something that we like Neff said earlier, this is about seeing the only benefit we see is the community getting greater and in some format based off of us sharing information with one another because we're in council. We may be through a screen or social networking right here, but we're actually here to have counsel and sit with each other and have commune. We're here to be with one another and chat. That's why we say join the conversation and talk with us, chat with us. You know, we pull y'all into the conversation because it matters for the family to dissect all these pieces that we're going.
We gotta talk it through because right? Folks ain't giving us the opportunity to talk it through.
We gotta talk it out.
Sister Essie's already said they know who we are. We just don't know who we are. They don't scare me. I am the mother. I say it's in our DNA, baby. Yes, it's in our DNA. And you know what? We also know. So part of the work that we're doing is because there's no folks who, white center consciousness folks are not standing in my hood with me, oppressing me. At this moment, the most problems that I have had have been with other African people. They've been with other Africans being usurping, out of integrity, mistreating, lying, breaking their word. I've been dealing with this with African people. So I'm dealing with the residuals of the system that's been created through white center consciousness.
Right.
But the people who I'm front facing have been other Africans. So we're doing this to each other. So this is why we talk about these social interactions, because if we can't get together on these social interactions, there's no big fight or big revolution for African people if we can't get together on these basic social interactions. Right. Because we have to work together to build the strategy. No one can show you the matrix. You must see it for yourself. I can tell you where to look because I've seen it. Yeah. I can say, hey, look over here. I can say, hey, look over there. But if you don't have enough of a library and reference and you don't have this research in your mind, it may be difficult for you to receive. I will tell you, when I was able to decode the matrix, I had to have a nervous breakdown because it was too traumatic. It was mentally taxing.
It's next level.
It was spiritually taxing, but I was committed to wrangling the beast of the night. And it is not a game. But the good thing about it is you have a community of people who are supposed to hold you up.
And help you sort it out.
So you don't have to do devious things to yourself or others. Sure. And this is what we're doing. We're not getting the therapy. We're not holding authentic space for each other. People are out here suffering and they're doing it by themselves. And that's not okay. Because you got a community of people. You can help, somebody can help you hold the weight. Can't live with nobody. I can't be with nobody. Can't this, can't that. We have this disdain towards each other because we're holding this white brain. And that you have to get rid of. That Christian Bible says you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. Said renewing of the mind. You be renewed by the renewing of your mind. Yeah. And you know what? I couldn't do it teeter-tottering in the middle. I had to literally get rid of it all and start from scratch with the creation power of the divine. So if you can't sort it out, just get rid of it. What's worth it? It can't, listen, the life we living right here, trust me. You might as well get rid of it and try to start over. It's okay. It really is. I don't care how old you are. 60, 70, it don't matter. You lived all of this time in a haze, come on through. Okay. The sun is here.
Says there's a grace. Says I did too. I had mine shortly before we met. So like, do you?
I
had to lose my mind to find myself.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Right, exactly.
Hey,
it had to be that.
So
yep.
About that day.
Lose your mind to find yourself.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing because he who loves his life will lose it. So in order to be awakened, you might have to lose something.
Yep.
You might have to go through the fire, through the limit, to the wall.
Okay, Shaka.
Okay, for a chance to be with you. Okay, come on, family. But it's important, and we need to normalize peeling away the matrix.
Definitely, get you on.
We need to make that normal. We need to make that a priority. I got a new job. I graduated from school. 1,000 people will come celebrate you. You know, I woke up. I'm back, y'all. I'm clear. I'm African. But shut up. You hear crickets. Crickets. Ain't nobody celebrating that. But we celebrating you being in this allegory. I teach a class, the allegory of the cave. Part of the ELI experience in undergrad is a writing class where we talk about that allegory of the cave. You know, we learn, because for me, with the Bible, I learned all the European ways. Descartes, Nietzsche, Thoreau, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. We learned all of these European writers, theory and philosophy.
What the damn?
We learned all that foolishness first. Right? It wasn't until after that I came back around and went through unlearning, because I got rid of all of that foolishness. But there is some value in understanding because art imitates life. So you get to look into the consciousness of people and their desire for something that is unattainable because of selfishness. So it doesn't matter how much philosophy you have in your life. If you're not willing to honor the life force, namaste, the divine in me, honors and respects the divine in you, if you're not willing to do that, you have lost your humanity. Yes. African, I need you to understand that. So you need to get rid of that white brain because there's nothing good coming from it for you. Nothing. That's the breaking belonging. Boiling, a psychographical look at I can't think of the name of the book. Psychoanalytical look at African consciousness or psyche from Dr. Boiling, John Boiling. It's a break in the human family.
Yeah.
You have to honor the life force of others because the divine grants life force. And you walk around the planet just killing all 50 million Congolese, giving all of these people over here smallpox to kill the indigenous, right? So you're not honoring others' life force. So that's a work that you have to do for you. We don't have to contribute to your smoke and mirrors illusion that keeps you comfortable. That's not our job to do. If you want to keep it, that's your business. It's your story, your fairy tale. You keep telling it. But as for me and my house, we're going to stand in the light. African, I'm just saying, if you are working with your words the way they're supposed to be working with your words with the power of creation, divine light will show because these are stories and manifestations coming from the high science of Kemet. They just took a little pieces and little parts of whatever they got and they did whatever they want to do with it. But if your spirit is right, your compass will direct you correctly. You will get there. This is us, family. We together.
Absolutely.
We together. She said, Chaka is here. Chaka, 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 chaka.
You know, this is us, family. This is Soundbytes International Radio.
Fine,
of course, African consciousness is the claim. One world is the aim. Huh?
We're gonna do our cleanup. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, family.
I was getting to it.
Oh, my bad.
You trying to take my job?
My bad.
This is African. Take my job.
Go African. Do your thing, African.
Well, of course, we want to make sure that you're following us and staying in tune with the conversation on all our platforms. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soundbytes International Radio. Make sure to subscribe and tell your friends and your friends and your family and your friends and your diasporic family and lovers and friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soundbytes International Radio. We love you.
We love you.
Also, remember to follow and like us on Facebook if you're not already doing so. Whether you're following us, then hit the like. If you're liking us, then hit the follow.
Okay,
and Soundbytes INTL Radio, because for whatever reason, Facebook wants to separate the two. But the Soundbytes INTL Radio right there. And also Soundbytes International Radio on Instagram, where we have these Soundbytes conversations on the daily, as we pull apart and look at our human experience on the daily. So that's what it is. Also, remember, our past episodes are available in podcast format on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify at Soundbytes International Radio. So make sure you follow those. Make sure you hit the ratings, hit that 5-star rating, leave us some reviews. It's all helpful. It's all appreciated, family. Absolutely, Ashe.
And our conversation is not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
You heard, African?
But,
so some folks gonna say what they gotta say, but you're not gonna get nothing but light here. So they can say what they want to say about it. Because if you don't understand me, then I'm not talking to you.
You've been following us this long, you understand. You know what we about.
If they don't hear me,
the
then I ain't talking to them.
That's it.
I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you.
None.
If you don't comprehend what I'm saying, then I ain't talking to you.
Also, as you see scrolling down at the bottom, please stay connected on our website. thisissoundbytes.com. If you do find value in this conversation, would like to leave a donation or a gift of any sort, there is a contribution button that is available on the site. We do appreciate all size energy yields. We do appreciate the love, but we are here regardless to support the family through these conversations and aspects of healing towards our liberation. So this is soundbytes.com, or you can contribute at the Cash App for Soundbytes Radio. Right there on Cash App. So we love y'all, family. We're here.
We love you, family.
Absolutely. We're here, family. So remember to tune in each Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Let's get them subscribers and likes up so we can get more people into the conversation, family. That's rocking with the conversation, right? Because not everybody. But that said, you know how we roll out. We want to keep it on the high energy and on an amped up note. So we're going to do it for our family. Shout out Rob Lotus, Carol. We're going to do it for y'all.
Thank y'all, SC. Appreciate you coming in, my sister.
Yes, thank you for everybody coming in. Mario Kerr, brother Mario Kerr, sister Rob Lotus, Carol. Thank you, SC. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation.
See y'all, family.
Absolutely. So sit tight. We here, family. Let's rock out. Soundbytes International with a little bit of I Am from the brother Bricks, featuring myself and AJ Throwback. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it.
Get into the I Am.
Let's get it.
Which makes people ask who sent you. I tell them I am. They tell me that's a cute affirmation, but it's not an answer. I reply, listen again. My affirmation is your answer.
Reach the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny that. Hear the proof in the hi-hat. Eternal reflection, I digress. I love me more, never love less. I love me more, never love less. Turn $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Look deep inside, yeah, you be the blessing. $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Anything I want, yeah, turn up. This is the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny the power of I am. Handsome chocolate mofo, yo. Anytime I'm on GoPro, lyrical high home growth. Living spots with a cold solo. Conditions without morale so low. So I pitched it fast, pitch it slow. Till the cows call home, bro. It didn't make sense. I was told as a child I wouldn't be shit. Revenge on my mind, started flipping the script. They fed me lies, started puking that shit. They treated me different, I embraced that shit. You know the ones that be closest to you to be the family ties. Sacred bonds, seeing plenty murder, dirty service, ludicrous. Cock up with a dirty burner. But better believe in me 1,000%. Better I achieve what I was saying again. And I couldn't resist. Kill these niggas with their toxicness without a popping pistol monotonous. Told myself I couldn't rock with this. Hanging with goofies couldn't get rich. True blood suckers couldn't see bliss. Couldn't see shit. Cold face, nigga. You dead wrong. I ain't regurgitating, percolating, singing the same song. I'm blessed all day long. Lame all day long. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Fuck, nigga, I am.
Some people might say I'm washed. Well, they're absolutely right. I am washed. As in washed, cleansed, and purified of the nonsense they tried to attach to my context. I am resilient. I am more than a survivor. I am a thriver.
This is the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny that. Hear the proof in the hi-hat. Eternal reflection, I digress. I love me more, never love less. I love me more, never love less. Turn $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Look deep inside, yeah, you be the blessing. $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Anything I want, yeah, turn up. This is the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny the power of I am.
Shit's a grind. I'm totally surprised that I ain't lost my mind. Had to take setbacks and learn to accept facts that those I gave jetpacks that no planes don't fly. Yeah, I'm in no space, so wasting my time. Focus my glow to shift paradigms. My get up and go to keep my folks from dying. So I'm on the road with a goal that's refined. Yeah, riding with a mean vision. Reflected from every angle through a clean prism. Doesn't matter reflecting in technicolor and gray. When I lost my mother, found peace aside my queen, and I leaned in on my brothers. Yeah, bars was shaping up the grand scheme. I done wrestled to the mat on my damn demons. In a matter of time, became a champion. Now my everyday mantra to do the damn thing. So my aim to pack out every arena, inspire the future leaders with every line of the levers of gods and unbelievers. Do what they can't conceive us, know what we do and leave us. Brick, they never see us. Woo! God damn, I'm feeling good, motherfuck. What they say, I'm doing what they never would. Yeah. Get a grasp on your life, yeah. Been many sacrificial prices. Brody, I'm done playing nice, yeah. They gonna recognize who the nice is. From the north to the southeast, kicking others every lane, share about seats. I'm in line with it, man. You cannot be. Say anything I want, yeah, turn up.
Man, I ain't talking in terms about which I want to or even I will anymore. Only things I proclaim, I do, I have, and I am. I do as my ancestors instruct. I have all I need to affect change, and I am a living magnification of God.
This is the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny that. Hear the proof in the hi-hat. Eternal reflection, I digress. I love me more, never love less. I love me more, never love less. Turn $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Look deep inside, yeah, you be the blessing. $1,000,000 dreams, yeah, how I manifest it. Anything I want, yeah, turn up. This is the power of I am. This is the greatness of I am. Look at the strength that I have. None of the truth can deny the power of I am.
You already know, family. Soundbytes International Radio. We thank y'all for tuning in to today's show. Join us next week, of course, as always, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, once again on YouTube and Facebook. Join our family. Y'all have a blessed one. Be safe.